Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. You spoke and I heard you. Today I'm going to be doing some DIYs, so I hope that you enjoy these fall-inspired makeovers. I wanted to recreate a couple of things. One of them I'm still working on as I'm doing this intro, so I really don't know if I nailed it or not. Sometimes we want to recreate something and you're never ever going to recreate something exactly the way that it was made, but we can come pretty close. That's what I'm gonna try today. I have a few things that I wanted to incorporate in my fall decor. This is from the Threshold brand. This pumpkin is my muse. I absolutely love this pumpkin. And it was only $5. And its bigger brother, let me show you the bigger brother. My house is a mess. I just love the way this looks. How much was this one? $10. Totally my style. I don't know how this is gonna work, but let me show you what I have. I've got this plastic pumpkin here. This I think I got at the Target dollar spot a couple of years ago. I've only put like one coat of Mod Podge. I feel like paint will stick better to it if I have Mod Podge on it first. I also put Mod Podge on the stem because I'm also going to be painting the stem. I wasn't going to use baking powder, but I think I am, because I do want to give this more texture. I'm gonna start off with the camel. I'm gonna use this makeup brush. I think using a makeup brush is actually a little bit better. I think it gives it a little bit more texture. The more baking powder you use, the more texture you're going to get. It's really a matter of preference. I'm not, brushing this way or brushing side to side. I want to give it that same look. So I'm going to go ahead and just start stippling my brush. And I have quite a bit of this stuff on here. So this is going to really last me, I think, probably most of the pumpkin. I do want to get that stem also, which I probably should have done last, but it's okay. No biggie. Already I can tell you that I'm liking this color. While that's drying, I decided to wash my brushes and initial this one so that I don't use it for anything other than Mod Podge or Marta and Peter. I wash this brush constantly. This brush is from Sephora. I've had it for years. It's the Pro Airbrush 55. I don't know if you can find it. If you can, pick yourself one of these brushes. They wash like a dream. So far, I can see that this pumpkin has this color or something very similar as an undertone. Now, I just have to be careful with what I do with the gray. I may have to make that gray just a little bit darker. I don't know. It's all about layers here, folks. Hopefully, I can get the same look. So I went to get my paint out of the archives. I haven't used these paints since I used to DIY. I'm looking for the perfect color. I don't quite like the Primitive. Primitive is a color that I've had for years. It's a nice base color, but I'm not sure if it's really a gray or if it's like a grayish. I have no idea. I need to mix the Primitive with something else. I'm not sure which color. Note of Pink, Timeless Gray. That's probably a contender. What is this? That's metallic. Pewter Gray. That just might be a good one. Okay, so I think we found the color. I think it's gonna be the Pewter Gray, and that is by Apple Barrel. Both of these colors have to make something along the lines of this gray. Let's just start. I'm a little afraid, I'm not gonna lie and tell you that I'm not. Let's see what happens. This paint is kind of thick, probably because I haven't used it in a while. Let me shake this up a little. Let me just see what this color looks like. And I'm gonna use a little baking soda as well. I wanna separate everything. I wanna be able to have full control of what I'm doing here. I'm gonna try and mix these two colors up, see what I get. It's definitely giving me more gray. And then I'm just gonna dip it in the baking powder and dip it in that little bit of paint. Here goes nothing. I'm gonna go in and stipple just like I did before. Might be a little too gray. Mix up a little bit more of the darker gray. I don't want this to be opaque. I want this gray to kind of go over the pumpkin, but not hide the color that's underneath, because I think that's key. Right now, I'm not loving the way this brush is working for me. I don't know what's what here, but we're just gonna keep going. Not loving it. I'm gonna try and take some of this paint off with this damp paper towel. I think that's the problem. I think it's just too much gray. Paper towel just may do the trick. Instead of using the brush, I think the brush was just picking up way too much paint. I'm gonna use a little bit more of that pewter, a little bit of that primitive, and then I'm gonna keep using the same paper towel. It's wet. I mean, it's not like dripping wet, and I'm only gonna take a little bit of paint. I'm not going crazy, because with a little bit of paint, you can take it off, but if you put too much, then it's just like, I gotta repaint this stupid thing. Okay, so I'm basically pretty much done doing the gray, because I do believe that there's gray in here. However, I still don't see it looking like this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try very lightly to go in with some camel in here, maybe mix it a little with that primitive with a smaller brush to see if we can't get it just a little closer. Nothing crazy. I think what's happening is that you have to go in layers, and that's, you have to have patience. And then my wet, I haven't changed this, I haven't wetted anymore. Just go in and kind of dab it. I think this is too much already. Let me put some more of this gray on here. Oh. Well, it does have some white in there, so I don't want to use white, but I'm using the tiniest, and I mean the tiniest amount of the primitive, because I do see some white in here. I don't want a lot of color on there. I just kind of want to give it a little bit of a shading, just trying to make it three-dimensional, or at least that's the way I see it. In some of the areas that I think I put too much gray, or it looks too gray, like, see that there? What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna mix it with a little bit of the gray. It just hides it a little bit. And it looks more distressed than it being a mistake. And one of the last things that I did, and I'm continuing to do, is to take some of that primitive, very little, and just give it some white highlights because I feel like this has them. So whoever made that pumpkin knows what they're doing. I'm no Picasso, but it's not coming out bad. It's something that I would be very happy to put in my home, I'll tell you that. I love the way this came out. I am obsessed with it. I know it's only a $3 pumpkin. You guys must be saying, calm down, Marta. It's not exactly the same as the Threshold brand ones. It's actually a little darker in color. I just couldn't get my colors right, but it is very similar. It looks like it could be like in the same family, like Mama Pumpkin. I don't know. When you are DIYing, it doesn't necessarily have to come out, like I said earlier, exactly like what you're trying to recreate. Put your own spin on it. Just make sure it's something that you want to display in your home and that you would be proud of, whatever that means to you. There's no right, there's no wrong way. I actually have it on a shelf right now. I just put it on the table to display it, but I love it. Layers upon layers make this look more authentic. That is like the biggest advice that I can give to you. And patience. You saw how long it took for me to explain it. It actually took longer to make it. Super happy with the way this came out. All from a $3 plastic pumpkin. I'm not going to show you the condition of my room, but this DIY is going to be super easy. This lamp is a lamp that I got 2 for $5 at the Stormville flea market. I did have to buy lampshades for them because the lampshades that came with the lamp were messed up. I'm going to keep one in my room, but I wanted a lamp for my living room. They're really nice. They have a lot of texture. I don't know if somebody already tried to paint them, but I want a little bit of a richer color, maybe like a brown mixed with some light. This is chrome and this is like a gold. So I want to get that to kind of match as best as possible. And then I'm going to try and paint it. I have 2 different rub and buffs. I think that's what I'm going to use here. The antique gold and the gold leaf. But I think the antique gold is going to fare a lot better. I'll try it. I'll try anything once. So I painted this with accessible beige, and then I went in with a little bit of this wax. The Bare decorative finish, and the color is dark antique. I wasn't happy. I really wanted this to be a dark lamp. This is a Dollar Tree brush, grabbing some of the wax, and I'm dabbing it. Oh, geez. I didn't fall. My light actually fell. And he's saying he thought I fell. The first thing out of his mouth was, no, what's going on? He didn't say, Marta, are you okay? No, 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 no. He was annoyed that there was noise while he was in the bathtub. Whatever, Peter. I don't want to go like this, although it would be faster. That's not what I'm going for. I'm going for a dark look. You know what I mean? Dirty. Like a dirty brown. Like my hair. Well, you know, minus the grays.
That's what I get for dinner. Chips and a sandwich.
You poor thing. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the way that this light came out. I was a little worried to use wax like that, like all over the lamp, instead of using paint, I mean. I didn't think that the paint was going to come out the way that I wanted to. Is it the amber interior light that everybody is coveting? No, it's not. It's never going to be. But it still gives me like all the feels. You know what I mean? That warmth that I was craving for the fall. I can use this through the winter, Christmas, you know, all of that. It's definitely the color that I wanted, or very similar. Editing Marta here. I totally forgot to record a clip for this part of the video, so I'm doing it now. I follow this young lady. Her name is Evelyn Hernandez. I love her channel. She has just some beautiful decor. I'm gonna leave a link to her channel in the description box. She made a stone plate in one of her videos, and you know, I've always been afraid to work with mortar, not with Marta, with mortar. She just inspired me to try it. She had such easy to follow instructions. I love the way it came out. And now that I know how to actually make it, I think I can make more things. Everything in my house is gonna be made out of mortar from now on. But seriously, I love her. Thank you so much, Evelyn, for teaching me how to make it and for inspiring me to be brave enough to try it. So here's how I made mine. You're going to need 2 of these bowls exactly from the Dollar Tree. I found them pretty easily in mine. They had a ton of them. 2 red Solo cups. These are the 16-ounce cups, and you're going to use these to measure. Her directions are 4 parts of mortar to 1 part water. And then I picked up a whole box of this Rapid Set mortar mix at Home Depot. This was roughly $18. A Home Depot bucket for mixing, and then you're also going to need WD-40. I didn't buy that because Peter had it on hand. I'm going to take this mortar mix, and I'm going to do 4 of these cups. 1, oh boy, 2, that's 3, 4. 1 cup of water. Then I'm going to mix it. This is kind of, I don't know. I feel like I need to put a little more mortar in here because it needs to be like pancakey. I'll throw a little bit more in there. Now I'm going to take these and I'm going to spray the WD-40 in there just so that it doesn't stick. Just make sure you do both sides, in and out of one of them, because that's the one you're going to put inside of the other. And then the other one you just do inside, if that makes any sense. Because one bowl is going to go inside of the other. So you don't have to do the outside of the first bowl. It's very complicated when I say it. When she said it, it was so easy. Okay. Whole cup of this mortar. I'm going to try anyway. And now I'm going to throw it right in here. My cameraman stinks. You're going to throw what's in the cup inside one of the bowls and then put the other bowl on top and kind of shape it. It automatically shapes itself into what looks like a bowl or a plate. One quick piece of advice. You see how one of the bowls is higher than the other? Both of them have to be at the same level so that your bowl comes out even. Full transparency, the bowl that I'm going to show you actually is my second bowl. The first one came out crooked. So keep that in mind. We just put cans on top of it to make it stay, and now we're just going to wait. Wait for it to get dry, I hope. Pardon the washing machine noise. Brought it inside so that it will dry because it's just too humid out there. We'll see what happens. Ah, see how easy this came out? That's great. Yes. The edges are a little rough, and so I'm gonna go ahead and sand this. I'm using 180 fine sandpaper. Now this is just a matter of preference. I actually like mine to be rougher, just a little uneven. I'm gonna go ahead and take some of that antiquing wax and put some around certain areas just to make it look even older. I added wax using a paper towel, just like Evelyn did, all around the bowl, even on the bottom. You know, monkey see, monkey do. You can paint it if you don't want to wax it. You can do whatever you'd like. I think this bowl is just beautiful. And clearly I was obsessed, so I had to recreate it. Here's how it came out. I've been eyeing this recipe box from Magnolia for a while now, but it's $34. And although you know I love me some Joanna Gaines, I have a recipe box that I picked up at Marshall's on clearance. It was like an after Christmas clearance, and it was only like $5, I think it was. I've always wanted to make this over, and I guess now is the time. As you can see, all of my recipes are just thrown in there. I either print them out from online or write them myself, and I just shove them in there. This actually came with these recipe cards. It was cute, but I really want to make it more my style. So here we go. I don't know what type of wood this box is, but it did have like this shiny glaze over it. And of course, all of the wording and the appliques up on top. So I decided to start off with 80 grit sandpaper to try and remove all of that. It was giving me a hard time. It really wasn't coming off as fast as I wanted. So I started using 40 grit sandpaper, which in the end I think was a little bit too harsh. I still love the way it came out, but you know, patience is key. I am such an impatient DIYer. Sometimes I just want to get things done quickly, which really isn't the best way. I'm just grateful it worked. So yeah, let's move on. So I finished sanding everything, and then I went in with a 150 grit just to smooth everything out, vacuumed up all of the dust, and went on to stain. Not dark walnut. It's not what I want. Maybe golden oak? I don't know. I thought I had another stain. Is there any stain out here?
Right there, see?
What is that? Is that the one that I need? Special walnut. So I decided on the special walnut. I have all my supplies here. Gloves, paintbrush. I always use socks when I am staining. Rub and buff in the color Gold Leaf. These hinges are gold, and I just want to kind of rub and buff them down to a more vintage look. And I don't know, I'm thinking I want to do a little bit of like of gold hardware. Now, I don't have the label that says recipes. I know what this box is. Nobody has to know what it is, and it doesn't have to say recipes. But I would like to sort of give it like a little, I don't know, I want to attach something to it. I have a box full of hardware and handles. These are the hangers that you use for the poles. You know, you put the pole in here across the closet. And so I saved them, and I think I'm gonna rub and buff this one as like a nice little brass looking accent. Enough talking, let's get on with this. First thing I'm gonna do is rub and buff these hinges. I don't know who Stanley is, but he's not the owner of this box. Marta is, so he's got to go. And we're going to use this one. And I'm gonna rub and buff this one first. A little rub and buff goes a long way. I use everything in excess sometimes. I can't calm down. I don't know what my problem is. I just want to use a whole bunch of it.
I try to understand, I try to hold your hand, but I don't think I came through. It's just a state of mind, this love is so unkind, but what am I supposed to do? I'm trapped in your web, I should have stayed in bed, 'cause you don't know you got me. I've looked from every angle, it's getting hard to handle, but don't you say you're sorry, 'cause I like the way you do it, baby, but let's be honest about it.
I forgot to do this here. You have to sand everything, or else when you go to stain, the stain will just not adhere. Once this dries a bit, I'll go ahead and sand it. It's not the end of the world.
No matter how I try, I'll never say goodbye. I know it's not a crime. Oh, gotta let you know, 'cause I can't let you go. No more wasting time. I'm trapped in-
Oh, goodness grace. This was a really difficult part. It took me a while to figure this out. This closet pole bracket, for lack of a better word, had 2 screws. I didn't want to screw it into the box because the box is not really strong wood. I was afraid that it was going to crack. So Pete took the screws and he cut them to be smaller. This way I could glue them into their designated holes. And once I glued the whole thing to the box, then it would look like it was screwed in. That was easy. But attaching the entire thing to the box was not, because obviously the way that this was made, there isn't anywhere to place the glue really without it showing. So I had to come up with, I don't even know, I used a Q-tip and my hands and all kinds of things just to get glue around the rim of this. I used a combination of E6000 and hot glue. I've used that combo before, and it's really great, especially when you're trying to glue something to a difficult surface. The hot glue will stick instantly, and then the E6000 takes about 24 hours to dry, but the hot glue gives the E6000 a chance to dry without compromising your project. This was a hot mess. My E6000 would not open. I literally had to put it under hot water. That didn't work, so I just cut it. It's been a long time since I used my DIY things. Ultimately, I glued the bracket onto the box and let it dry for 24 hours. The following day, I took some burnt umber paint mixed with a little bit of water, and I just went over those spots that for some reason the stain just didn't adhere to. I did sand it, but who knows what happened. Maybe it was the wood. But I must say, that burnt umber mixture gave it that extra something that the stain couldn't accomplish on its own. I went ahead and wrote out all of my wonderful recipes onto the cards, and it was done. I am in love with my new recipe box. I made it to my liking, and it fits my home decor so well. There's actually a little gap up on top of the bracket where if I wanted to, I could slide a little picture in there or an initial. Obsessed. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I know it was a little longer than usual, but I haven't DIY'd in a while, and I guess I got carried away with myself. Let me know in the comments which one of these makeovers was your favorite, if any. Don't forget to like, subscribe, do all the things. It really helps my channel out. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next one.